Welcome. In this video, terminology, slang, and mechanics will be explained for Arknights. Sanity is a stamina or energy mechanic that dictates if a player can play a level or not. If a stage requires 10 sanity to play, but the player has 8 sanity, the player cannot play said stage until their sanity is at 10. Players start off with 82 maximum sanity, which increases as they level up, with a maximum of 135 sanity being attainable. It takes 6 minutes to fully restore 1 sanity, or 10 sanity per hour. Sanity can also be restored with Originite Prime to fully restore their maximum amount of sanity, an Emergency Sanity Sampler which restores 10 sanity, an Emergency Sanity Potion that restores 60, a Top Emergency Sanity Potion that restores 100, or by leveling up, which restores their maximum sanity. Sanity is able to go over the player's maximum sanity, but sanity won't naturally regenerate while it's above the maximum. Stars refer to an operator's rarity, ranging from 6, the rarest, to 1. There are many different types of races that inherit Terra. There are Agirs, who have traits of various marine animals such as fishes and crustaceans, Anatis, who have traits of otters, weasels, and raccoons, Anuras, who have traits of frogs, Archosauria, who have traits of crocodiles, Aslans, who have traits of lions, Caprines, who have traits of goat and sheep, Cautus, who have traits of rabbits and hares, Ceratos, who have traits of rhinos, Dracos, who have traits of western dragons, Durans, who have traits of dwarves, Elaphia, who have traits of deers, Felines, who have traits of house cats and big cats, Fortes, who have traits of cows or camels, Itras, who have traits of musk deers, Kirans, who have traits of the legendary animal Kiran, Kuranata, who have traits of horses, Liberis, who have traits of birds, Lungs, who have traits of eastern dragons, Lupos, who have traits of wolves, Manticores, which there's only one of, who have traits of manticores, Onis, who have traits of the mythological Oni, Peros, who have traits of dogs, Petrums, who have traits of turtles, Pelosas, who have traits of sloths, Pythias, who have traits of serpents, Rebas, who have traits of hyenas, Sanctas, who have traits of angels, Sarkazas, who have traits of demons, Savras, who have traits of lizards, Ursusas, who have traits of bears, Voivres, who have traits of wyverns, Vulpos, who have traits of foxes, and Zalaks, who have traits of rodents. Originite Prime and Orundum are forms of currency within Arknights. Originite Prime, the premium currency of Arknights, can be used to restore the player's maximum sanity, exchange into Orundum, 1 Originite Prime is equal to 180 Orundum, purchasing operator outfits, purchasing furniture, and purchasing pro enhancement packs. Originite Prime can only be acquired through the means of clearing a stage with 3 stars for the first time, rewarding 1 Originite Prime, clearing a challenge mode of a stage for the first time, rewarding 1 Originite Prime, and purchasing through the Orundum store. Orundum, on the other hand, is solely used for headhunting, the Gacha portion of Arknights, with a single pull costing 600 Orundum and 10 consecutive pulls costing 6,000 Orundum. Orundum can be acquired through Annihilation Operations, a stage where you directly obtain Orundum from completing the stage, with a maximum limit of 1,200 Orundum a week initially, with the limit being increased to 800 Orundum a week if the player completes all Annihilation stages. Annihilation Operations are challenging stages where the player has to kill all the enemies in the stage, the total number of enemies being in the hundreds, to reap the maximum amount of rewards. One-time rewards for killing a certain number of enemies in the Annihilation Operation, clearing Paradox Simulations, special operator-specific stages which become unlocked after certain requirements are met, giving 200 Orundum, daily and weekly missions, 100 from daily and 500 from weekly for a total of 1,200 Orundum, 100 from the first tier of the Commendation Store for 40 Commendation certificates each for a total of 600, with the third tier having an unlimited stock of Orundum of 100 for 50 commendation certificates each, 200 daily if the player has the monthly card active, 180 for 1 Originite Prime, or trading 2 Originum shards for 20 Orundum at level 3 trading posts. The Rhodes Island Infrastructure Complex, R.I.I.C, also known as the base, is important for the player's progression as the main source of LMD, the main currency, battle records, the way to level up operators, among minor things. When fully upgraded, the base can house the control center, a reception room that generates store credits, a workshop for constructing materials, an office that generates refreshes for recruiting, a way of getting operators, a training room to get mastery levels for skills, 4 dormitories for restoring morale of operators who work in the base, and 9 facilities of the player's choosing, being power plants that provide power for other facilities and generates drones that can quicken productions or trading, factories that can produce pure gold for selling at trading posts, Originum shards for trading for Orundum, battle records that level up operators, and dual chips that are used in promoting operators, and trading posts that exchange pure gold for LMD and Originum shards for Orundum. A common term heard in the Arknights community when referring to operators is E0, E1, and E2. This refers to Elite 0, Elite 1, and Elite 2 respectively, with E1 and E2 being obtained through promoting operators, and E0 being the rank before promoting to E1. Promoting your operators to E1 or E2 unlocks new skills, talents, and improves their stats. But promoting consumes memory chips, LMD, and materials for higher rarity operators, and it requires for the operator to reach their maximum level before being promoted. Trust is a slow but easy way to slightly buff your operators and can be mostly done for free. Each operator's trust starts at 0 and caps at 200%, with the buffs increasing over time and being maxed out for the player at 100%, and the buffs carrying over to the operator if they are a support unit at 200%. For example, when Amiya is at 200% trust, she gains plus 200 health and plus 70 attack, with the same buffs carrying over to Amiya if she's in your support unit. But if Amiya is only at 100% trust, those buffs will only be applied to you. Trust also allows for certain factions' furniture to be unlocked after a certain amount of trust has been reached for the operators of that faction. Trust can be increased through many different ways, such as clearing stages with 3 stars. Operators don't need to be deployed to gain trust, and gain trust equal to the amount of sanity spent or killing a certain amount of enemies in Annihilation. All operators assigned to facilities in the base section of the game gain trust every 12 to 24 hours. Working operators, such as those working in a factory, gain a max of 100 trust every 24 hours. The R.I.I. assistant, who can be assigned in the command center, gains a max of 500 trust every 12 hours. And floor assistants, who are also assigned in the command center, gain a maximum trust of 125 every 12 hours. To reach certain thresholds of trust, you will need roughly 804 trust points for 25% trust, 2,732 trust points for 50% trust, 6,195 trust points for 75% trust, 10,070 trust points for 100% trust, 13,945 trust points for 125% trust, 17,820 trust points for 150% trust, and 25,570 trust points for 200% trust. Support units are operators of the player's choosing that are usable by their friends in stages. The player is able to choose 1 5-star operator or lower and 2 6-star operators or lower, with the player choosing what skill the operator takes in the combat. The player starts out with 1 support slot, with slots being increased as the player upgrades the reception room in their base. When a player selects a support unit to use, the support unit's operator level will be adjusted to the highest promotion of the operator in the squad. Potential, also referred to as pot, is another way to strengthen operators in different ways. Increasing the potential of an operator can reduce DP costs, reduce deployment time, improve stats, or improve talents. Increasing potential can be done through operator tokens, which are obtained by getting duplicates of an operator a player already has, using operator tokens from event shops, or using 4 class tokens which can be obtained in the certificate store. Amiya, Savage, Castle 3, Lancet 2, and Thermex are only available to be improved with their own tokens. Moving to the different stats, health or HP is self-explanatory, defining how much damage an operator can take before being retreated. Attack, again, is obvious, with how much damage an operator deals. Defense is how resistant to physical damage, such as being hit by a sword or shot with a bow, an operator is. Resistance is how resistance to art damage, such as being attacked by a caster, an operator is. Redeploy is how long an operator takes before being able to redeploy after losing all their health. Amiya, for example, takes 70 seconds to redeploy. Deployment cost, or DP cost, is how many deployment points an operator requires before you can deploy them. DP is generated in most stages, except Annihilation, by simply waiting for the DP meter to fill up. The process of gaining DP can be quickened, or is the only way to gain DP in Annihilation through the use of skills that generate DP, a common skill in Vanguards. When an operator is retreated, their DP cost goes up. Block is how many enemies can be stopped by an operator before allowing any to move past. Defenders, for example, can block 3 enemies on average, while some types of guards can only block 1. There are 8 types of overarching classes in Arknights, with each having a few subclasses. Going in alphabetical order, there are casters, ranged units who deal arts damage. They generally have average to low HP, average to high attack, low defense, average resistance, high DP cost, and low DPS. Defenders, melee units who usually block 2 to 3 enemies, have high HP, low to average attack, high defense, no to low resistance, high DP cost, and average DPS. Guards, melee units that can block 1 to possibly 3 enemies, have high HP, high attack, low to average defense, no or low resistance, average to high DP cost, and average to high DPS. Medics, ranged units that heal friendly units, have low HP, average attack, attack being about how much they heal, low defense, no resistance, average DP cost, and low DPS, DPS being how often they heal. Snipers, ranged units that have average HP, average to high attack, low defense, no resistance, low to high DP cost, and low to high DPS. Specialists can be melee or ranged, with a trait or skills that define their primary function: average HP, attack, and defense, no to low resistance, low to average DP cost, and average DPS. Supporters, ranged units whose attack deal arts damage, with a trait, skills, or talents that provide offensive and or defensive support. They have low HP, average attack, low defense, average resistance, low to average DP cost, and average DPS. And finally, Vanguards, melee units whose trait or skills allow for DP generation. They can block 1 or 2 enemies, have average HP, attack, and defense, no resistance, low DP cost, and average DPS. As for subclasses, again going alphabetical order, there are single target or core casters who attack 1 target at a time, AoE, area of effect, or splash casters who deal area of effect arts damage, mystic casters who store attacks while no enemies are in range, and release all attacks simultaneously when an enemy comes into range, mech accord casters who control a drone that attacks enemies independently, dealing more damage in successive attacks if both the mech accord caster and their drone attack the same target, chain casters whose attack jump between multiple targets and slows them, but deals less damage after each jump, blast casters whose attack damages all enemies in a long linear range, and phalanx casters who only attack when their skill is active, damaging all enemies within range, with their defense and resistance being increased when their skill is inactive. Normal or protector defenders who focus on tanking and blocking enemies, healing or guarding defenders who can heal friendly units with skills, Juggernaut defenders who can't be healed by friends but can heal themselves, Arch Protector defenders who deal arch damage when their skill is active, Duelist defenders who can only block one enemy with their SP generating while blocking said enemy, and Fortress defenders that have a short-ranged AoE attack when not blocking enemies. Single block, Duelist, or Dreadnought guards that focus on fighting one enemy, AoE or Centurion guards whose attack hits multiple targets equal to their block, ranged or Lord guards that have a ranged attack that deals 80% damage used when not blocking enemies, Arts or Arts Fighter guards whose attacks deal art damage, Fighter guards who have a high DPS, Swordmaster guards who hit enemies twice, the attack being considered one attack, Musha guards who cannot be healed by friends but restore HP with each attack, Instructor guards who have a range of 2 tiles, with their attacks dealing 1.2 times damage against enemies not blocked by them, also supports friends with skills, Liberator guards who only attack and block enemies when their skill is active, and Reaper guards whose attack hit all enemies within a vertical range of 3 tiles and cannot be healed by friendlies. Single target or normal medics who heal 1 target at a time, AoE or multi-target medics who heal up to 3 targets simultaneously, Therapist medics who have a large range but only heal at 70% effectiveness on further targets, and Wandering medics who heal elemental damage such as sanity loss. Single target or marksman snipers who attack 1 target at a time, prioritizing aerial enemies over ground, AoE or artilleryman snipers whose attacks deal AoE damage, short range or heavy shooter snipers who have a short attack range but high attack, Deadeye snipers who have a long attack range and prioritize the enemy with the lowest defense, Besieger snipers who have a minimum range of tiles in front of them and prioritizes enemies with the highest weight, Flinger snipers whose attacks deal 2 consecutive hits with the second hit dealing half damage, only attacking ground enemies, and Shotgun or spread shooter snipers whose attacks deal damage to all enemies within range, with more damage being dealt to the enemies in front of the unit. Push or push stroker specialists who push enemies away with skills and can hit up to 2 enemies, Pull or hookmaster specialists who have a long range and can pull enemies, fast redeploy or executor specialists who have a short redeploy time, merchant specialists who have a shorter redeploy time but drain DP when deployed, Dollkeeper specialists who are temporarily replaced by a substitute that cannot block enemies upon losing all HP, but must be redeployed if the substitute is killed, Ambusher specialists whose attack hit all surrounding enemies, can dodge physical and arts damage 50% of the time, and are less likely to be targeted by enemies. Trapmaster specialists who can use traps which must be deployed on tiles without enemies, and Geek specialists who damage friends but give them buffs at the same time. Slow or D-cell binder supporters whose attacks briefly slow enemies, Bard supporters who constantly heal friendlies in range while also buffing friends or debuffing enemies, Abjurer supporters who augments the defense and survivability of friends, Hexer supporters who amplify the damage taken by enemies or lowers their damage, Summoner supporters who can summon units, and Artificer supporters who deal melee damage but can use devices to augment friends. Single block or Charger vanguards who generate 1 DP each kill and refunds their DP cost when retreating, 2 block or Pioneer vanguards who generate DP with skills, Flag or Standard Bearer vanguards who can rapidly generate DP with skills but stop attacking and blocking when the skill is active, and Tactician vanguards who are ranged but can summon units within range and attacks deal 1.5 times damage against enemies blocked by summons. Skills are commonly referred to in what order you obtain them, the first skill being S1, second skill S2, and third skill for 6-star operators and some 5 stars being S3. When someone refers to a skill as S3M3, they're referring to Skill 3, Mastery 3. Mastery is obtained by using the training room at the base, with Mastery further upgrading the stats of the skills. SP, or skill points, is the amount needed for an operator to activate their skill. Usually most skills gain SP automatically over time, but there are some skills that gain SP through attacking and/or killing enemies. All operators also come with skills that affect their work in the base. Base skills have different effects in the different rooms of the base, ranging from increased production in factories, restoring more morale in dorms, making it so that operators consume less morale in the base, and so on. In Arknights, there are 3 types of damage: physical, arts, and pure/true. Physical damage is the most common type of damage, being dealt by defenders, guards, snipers, and vanguards, with the damage being lowered by defense. Arts damage is mainly dealt by casters and supporters, with some guards dealing it as well, with the damage being lowered by resistance. True or pure damage is dealt by 7 operators currently, and ignores reductions from defense and resistance. Talents are bonuses that operators get through promotion, with some having drawbacks. Some talents increase damage or health, or assist with skills. Modules, also known as operator modules, are upgrades available to 4-star and up operators, requiring module data blocks, upgrade materials, LMD, and the player to fulfill certain missions such as beating a certain stage a certain amount of times or having a certain trust level. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please check out my other videos.